Okay, so out on the bike yesterday, which was Sunday morning, just a quick trip out, which turned into an even quicker trip out because my front light setup broke off, snapped off from there. My own fault. I've done it so thin and it's come out so far. I mean, that's cable tied now, but it was out here, so there's a lot of weight on the overhang for such a thin piece of metal. So what I'm looking at doing now is to have the light cluster this far in, I need to get rid of the ignition, so I'm going to move that. Possibly, I think it's going to go here, make a bracket off the bung, the crash bung, and it'll go there. Stainless steel, I've got a little plate of stainless steel somewhere, so give it a bit of strength, but it'd be like a washer there, come across, and hopefully if the cable's long enough, the ignition will go there. And then I don't know, possibly try and sell the top yoke and get one without an ignition, or just cut this section off, or just live with it for the time being. Probably just live with it. But yeah, disaster. Major disaster. First one I've had on my builds, which is annoying because I was very close to, well, I say very close, there's a lot more hours work there, but the front mudguard was getting there, and now I need to turn my attention to that. So seat off, tank up, unplug the ignition and see how far the wires will go. I should be able to bring it out the other side and hopefully stick it down there, and then it's just make up brackets and do this and do that and do anyway. But on my last project, on my 600, I did like the fact that the ignition was down there. It's, I don't know, let's go with quirky. Is it quirky? I'm going with quirky. It's quirky. There you go. I've gone with it. I've said it. That is now fact. Yeah, so, and then make up a whole new headlamp bracket and possibly put a little bit more effort into it this time instead of this wiggly woggly carry on. But yeah, I've got a feeling it's going to be off the road for a fair while. I don't know whether just to keep it off the road and start the tail section and everything. It's mustering the will to do it all. Anyway, let's get the seat off, tank up, check the wires. So seats off, tanks up, airbox is out. I've just checked all my wiring, there's no crispy bits, so I'm quite happy with that. Proves it'll survive in there, don't need that in there. Disconnected the ignition. I've taken one of the bolts out, just need to take this other one out. Right, so that's the ignition off. So quick demo fit. That'll probably be there, something like that, somewhere there. Then I could have it coming off the crash bung and the bolt that holds this plastic screen on, and that would be a good 2.5, maybe 3 inches for the wiring to be away from the headers. I can actually clip it this side. That won't look too desperate, will it? Will the clutch mess with it a little bit? What have I got underneath? Oh, it'll be higher than that, won't it? It'll be up here. Yeah, that'll be right. So somewhere there. Right, so to enable me to have the ignition here, I've obviously got to make up a bracket, which I'm going to do out this bit of stainless steel that I found at work. So first, do it in cardboard. So let's take that off. Gosh, that was loose, wasn't it? It's not very good for an engine mount, being hand tight. So I'm going to come across sort of like that. So a hole in there. Right, so we've got a hole in the cardboard. Dear I'll put the spacer back on. Wind it back in. Let's get that out of the way. So this is going to come up like that. Something like that. I'm thinking that's probably a bit big. Right, made a pig's ear of the first one. That is just rough. That wasn't going to be a finished article, but misjudged it here completely, and even with rounding that off, it's not going to fit the ignition. So waste of time or learning curve, whichever way you want to do it. Bit more accuracy on this one. I was hoping to get 3 out of this bit of stainless just in case. Might just scrape it if I fuck this one up. But yeah, that's the shape I want. So attempt number 2, but the first stencil, cutting it wrong and keep chiseling, because it's only little bits at a time, because I didn't want to fuck it up. Go! Anyway, yeah, doing the first stencil and cutting that first bit of shit, and doing the second stencil with a bit more care and effort and thought. So far that's taken 2 hours. Bloody hell, where did the time go? So that's me for this evening, unfortunately, and that'll be it for a week, because tomorrow night I pack to go up to Redcar, see my cousins for a few days, and then Lake District for a few days, see the mother-in-law. So yeah, it's a little bit frustrating. I was hoping to get the bracket done tonight, but I'd rather get it right than I was going to say than rush it, but obviously I did rush that one. Anyway, so that's as far as I've got with that for the ignition. See you next time. So attempt number 2. I don't know how far I'd got on the previous video, but this is, oh blimey, a couple of weeks later, because I've been on holiday and everything and haven't got out to the shed. So there's the template, there's the beautifully drawn oh dear, I really shouldn't. But yeah, I've got to cut this out now and then offer it up to the bike and see where we get. Right, just make sure the hole's big enough and we're getting somewhere near. Right, so it wants obviously a load more to accommodate round the barrel, so this needs curving a bit more. Squirrels out to my nuts. Cheeky squirrels. Or squirrel actually, there's only one. Anyway, right, so that's trimmed in a bit. So I'll just stuff that on the bike. Right, so I can stay where you put. I can still bring it back another 10 mil. Right, let's chop that up some more. Use that one. Use that one to death. It's just catching. Just catching. Just wants a bit more. So it'll have a bit more. Oh yeah. Use that up. Get your money's worth, that's what I say. You type what? Hello? But as it gets smaller, move your head away from it, because it's more likely to split and go everywhere. We don't mind, we're all amateur professionals here. Right, I think I'm a bit more. Right, that's close enough. Yeah. We've got the shape of the barrel and there's a little notch at the bottom. So there we go. I just want to mock that up on the bike and then just to make sure. Yeah, so that sits in there quite nicely. I can cut off this excess. Once I've drilled the holes, I'll know how much excess I've got. I can cut that off. This will be trimmed probably across here. This big flat bit here will be folded back, and there's a screw that holds this plastic guard on, and that will be used to secure the top end. So this will be the main securing point, obviously the engine mount, and this will just give it a bit more rigidity to withstand the daily vibrations, and perhaps some wheelie practice as well. Yeah, so all round the crash bung wants trimming. I'll take a bit off of there. I just want to bend that before I start trimming it too much. Probably could cut back a bit more in there. Perhaps another 5-10 mil. Before I fold it, and then obviously a lot of this will be trimmed off as well. I only need a section about here to put the top screw through, and then yeah, a proper tidy up. So I think I'll take that back. Where are we? It's there at the moment. We'll go back to about there. So about 10 mil. I've always got the play of moving this before I do the final crease back on that. But it don't look too bad. It'll all be, will I shine it up, or will I paint it? Possibly just shine it up actually. Yeah, so I'll take that back about 10 mil and perhaps drill the holes for the ignition. Alright, so we don't need that. Over 5 to start with. 5 to start with on my tidy bench. Wow, I actually drilled them in the right place. Usually I'm miles away and I have to use the Dremel to adjust. Make adjustments. But no, that's cool. So just want to cut that slot down a bit more. Get some 8mm nuts and bolts. And go from there. Right, I've cut the slot down. Now I've just lined it up with the top of the vise. I'm going to slap it with a hammer, and hopefully that'll give me a lovely, lovely bent bit. If you're going to hammer, use a hammer. Right, so I've taken the screw out of there, so that's all loose now. So let's get this monstrosity in here and see where it all ends up.